similar to Wolverine in many ways, except for her gender and the number of claws she has. Hey guys, today I'll give you the comic book origins of X-23, or Experiment 23, as it's also known. But X-23 is actually one of the most badass characters in the Marvel canon. And that's saying something when you've got characters such as Daredevil, Ghost Rider, Blade, so on. But she definitely earns her mark as a complete badass. But she's actually one of those rare characters that started out in a TV series before becoming popular enough to be in the comic books. Much like how Harley Quinn was originally created in the Batman animated series before making the jump to the pages. But her origins were eventually told in her own miniseries. We find out that a scientist named Dr. Rice, whose father had been working on the Weapon X project that laced Wolverine's body with adamantium in order to make him an assassin. Since he had died in the Weapon X program after Logan had another one of his berserker rages and killed all the scientists, Rice decided to try and create another Wolverine, or another Weapon X, as the project was known. But not only that, but another scientist named Sarah Kinney had been enlisted in order to help with the genetics side of the experiment. While she explained that creating an exact copy of Logan would take decades, creating a female version would not take as long. So that's what she decided to do. Using her knowledge of genetics and all the equipment that was at her disposal, she attempted to create a female version of Logan. But the Y chromosomes had problems with the genetics, so Rice had ordered her to become the surrogate mother to this experiment. And so she did. She gave birth to X-23, or Laura, as she would be named. Laura was kept in a padded cell, not like a lunatic asylum, but she was kept in a cell and had minimal human contact. But since Sarah was her mother, she was still allowed to have a connection with her and allowed to see her in order to establish a form of control. But not only that, Laura was also taught martial arts by a sensei that had been brought in. But the sensei managed to get in as much human kindness, contact, and humor as he possibly could. Laura was put under and had the adamantium placed into her on a skeleton, much like Wolverine, but she didn't have any anesthesia either. Rice had also devised a sort of scent that could be used to trigger her homicidal rages. If it's placed onto someone or something, she destroys it. This scent was used on her sensei, and she killed him in cold blood. But Rice had also discovered that his wife Rachel had an affair, and Rice's son was actually the son of the man that she had an affair with. So Rice had ordered Laura to kill his wife. Doing so, she found herself unable to kill the young boy. This amount of restraint showed Sarah that she had more human side to her than the scientist had wished, trying to make her into a weapon for their own use. But Laura was also assigned on a suicide mission, which she was not supposed to return from, but evidently she did, because she possessed the same healing factor that Logan did. But Sarah had actually attempted to rescue Laura from the facility and give her a proper life, since she discovered that Rice was attempting to create multiple clones of her, and when she became obsolete, she would be killed along with Sarah, and the rest of the X-23 army would be unleashed upon the world. But Laura and Sarah managed to stop this, but with the scent that had been used to trigger her rages, some of it had been rubbed on Sarah, and Laura actually killed her own mother. But after all this, she moved to New York, where she eventually teamed up with the X-Men and found Logan. But before her origins were explained, and when we first saw her appear in the comics, she was revealed to be a prostitute in New York who specialized in people with a fetish for pain, which is dark and screwed up all at the same time. But Laura has become one of Marvel's most badass female characters. Most badass characters, anyway. But we did eventually see her jump to the movies in 2017's Logan, which is just, it is my favorite X-Men movie ever. But her abilities are basically all the same as Wolverine's, except for the fact she doesn't have 3 claws coming out of her knuckles, she only has 2. Since her third one is actually in her foot. Which is pretty cool. But that's about it for X-23, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe and comment what you think down below. And just so you know, I am actually planning something a little different for this channel, as I'll be giving you sort of a mini-series. It's basically a comic book ranking of all the ones that I have. But I'll reveal more about that when I start to do it. See you guys.